Old buddies China and North Korea seem to be pretty mad at each other. Just why is China pissed at North Korea? And does North Korea even care? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about this interesting story. So this is actually a story that is relates to a statement from the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell, who, speaking at a seminar, mentioned that there's actually been a lot of discomfort between Beijing and Pyongyang, particularly the North Koreans' support for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, you might recall, right, 10,000 North Korean troops deployed to Russia as part of a boots-on-the-ground military support. But the question that on kind of everyone's mind is, how much is China okay with this? Right now, we know that China's a little okay with this because they're an essential economic partner of North Korea. And without China's support, logistic, military, economic, North Korea would probably collapse fairly quickly. But, and this is the huge question here, is China really down for this, or are they sort of tolerating it the way you kind of tolerate your little brother doing some dumb stuff? He's still your little brother, but sometimes he's kind of an idiot, right? So how do we know this? Well, one is that even as North Korea is becoming very assertive, right, and backing sort of Russia's extraterritorial claims on Ukraine, China is actually informing Japan of a decision to remove a buoy placed within Japan's the disputed zone of the Senkaku. So this is seen as actually China sort of pulling back a bit from the Senkaku, right? Symbolic, but may signal, again, Japan's attempt to sort of soften relationships with Japan, or China's attempt to soften relationships with Japan. But Campbell actually saying that Chinese officials may not be fully aware of the North's actions, which I have a hard time believing, or Russia's role in encouraging them. I don't believe either of those things. There's no possible way. If you and I, the viewers, can know this, there's no way China doesn't know what's going on, right? China, in fact, has refrained from openly criticizing Russia, but also, remember, China is one of Russia's key economic partners. Those plate carriers, those vehicles, those weapons used by Russian troops are supplied either directly by China, or the raw materials and machine tools used to manufacture that gear is provided by China. In fact, China's the economic partner for Russia in a lot of ways, and it's frankly been the country that has enabled Russia to continue to sustain its war machine. So to say that China doesn't support Russia is a stretch. They are, but they're not like gifting Russia this gear. They're just simply being willing to deal with Russia. Right. And even then, they still have to work pretty hard to skirt the U.S. sanctions regime against Russia. But it seems strange then that they would tacitly or explicitly approve of North Korean actions. And the fact is that China has largely been silent on all of this craziness with North Korea. So what exactly is going on here? And is this part of a larger trend? Before we talk about that and we do a little bit of a deeper dive analysis, what I wanted to mention is that if you haven't gotten your Strike Gum yet, it's a Black Friday sale going on this week, 20% off everything site-wide. So if you want to finally bring your energy drink consumption into the 21st century, right, leave those terrible energy drinks loaded with sugar, leave them behind, right? Come into the 21st century, get some Strike Gum. The link is in the description. Go to strikegum.com, get your 20% off. There's no promo code. It's applied at checkout. This is the time. If you've been waiting to replenish your Strike Gum supply, guys, this is the time to do it. So check it out. Okay, so here's what's interesting. One is that as of May, when sort of some of these deals between North Korea and Russia were being negotiated, there were some signs of strain between North Korea and China, right? And, China particularly, and any big superpower really, they like to be their country's only and bestest friend. And it makes sense, right? North Korea does provide some value to China, cover, right? It can function in some ways even like Sort of like Hezbollah functions for Iran, where when Hezbollah does something bad, sure, they do it with Iranian approval and it serves Iranian objectives, but Iran gets to go, no, it wasn't us, right? North Korea can fulfill a similar function for China, right? As a sort of more aggressive mouthpiece than the Chinese can be, who need to maintain good economic relations with the West. But, they want North Korea to be their best friend, their BFF for life. So when they see Putin and Kim Jong-un meeting and chit-chatting and having a good time, there's a thought that maybe China's sweating a little bit. They're saying, oh, have we really been that good a friend to North Korea, right? And maybe we could stand to be a little bit better. And this is sort of unfortunate because, again, North Korea has signed a very, very robust partnership with Russia. We can see it in the fact that North Korean rocket and missile technology has gone through the roof. And while they have given up a lot of munitions and even troops, the gains in rocket technology are just too good for North Korea to turn down. And remember, China has this rocket technology. They just haven't shared it with North Korea. So the fact that Russia was willing to do so is a sign that, again, China's bestie may be finding new besties. And so the question, though, is this little tripartite pact between Russia, China, and North Korea, are they really all in together on this? And the answer is, I think the answer is still yes. Why? Because China and North Korea's relationship sometimes just ebbs and flows, just like any relationship, right? Sometimes you want to hang out with your bros, and then sometimes if your brother shares you one more meme about cryptocurrency, you're going to punch him in the face. So, it's their natural ebb and flow, right? This is an article from 2017 about their relationship showing cracks, but we haven't really seen that play out much in the public sphere, right? They managed to sort of mend fences, so to speak. So overall, again, I would say that while China likely publicly wants to be seen as sort of backing away from North Korean activities, they could do a lot more to put a stop to it. And the fact that they're not says that they likely have some vested interest in this. And if you really want to put on your tinfoil hat, China may want to be role-playing like the good guy relative to the West as a reasonable actor. This is something China's tried to position itself as since the start of the conflict, right? They've really wanted the international prestige of being a peacemaker country, but they also have a faltering economy, one that they need Russian trade and economic business to sustain. And so China sort of tried to play both roles, not very effectively, but they also have a military that has all the same problems the North Korean military has, namely a glaring lack of combat experience, absolutely no clue about their own actual combat readiness. And while Chinese soldiers cannot participate in the conflict, the Chinese government has allowed Russia to recruit Chinese nationals. And more importantly, again, the North Koreans fighting in Ukraine are likely going to accrue combat experience that'll work its way into the Chinese military in terms of its structure and in terms of its logistics. So all in all, again, my assessment is I think this may just be performative. Anyway, guys, that's all I had. Huge thank you to Martin Baum, Chris Rossi, Stuart Abel, Daniel Brown, Sergei Zinchenko, Chris Holmes, Chris Gorsuch, Daniel M., Ida Skycall, all of our Lieutenant tier members. I couldn't do this without you guys. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.